Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch, presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle. You will see Mike joining the show shortly. He is currently finishing up at work. He'll be home. And, yeah, we're going to get you guys ready to go on these lineups tonight. Get you situated for lock. Man, yesterday was a great day at the Phenoms, man. Whew. Mr. Josh Dewey, man. He took home over $700 last night. He had that pairing of Zack Greinke and Mr. Clayton Richard. Clayton Richard gave you so much flexibility in what you wanted to do. So much. And he took full advantage of that. Again, we talked about Texas striking out a lot from the left-handed side, or reverse left-handed pitchers, and what's up, Captain? And Steve. And ground ball pitcher, man. Ground ball pitcher. He held it down, and he gave up that one home run to Mike Napoli. Unfortunately, San Diego's bullpen cost him the win, but still a hell of a showing, man. And we talked about that Arizona game, man. We thought it was going to be low-scoring. Garrett Cole had actually a really good outing. Not the best DFS outing. He didn't get the strikeouts we thought he would. Zack Greinke went out and absolutely balled. We talked about that being a pitcher's matchup. And then the man himself just stepped in, Mr. Keith Dorman. He used absolutely nothing yesterday but the sheets and the show. He was out working. Dude's a hard-working man. He's farming. And he just puts together a quick lineup using the sheets and the show and cashes $400. So shout out to Mr. Keith. Damn, look at this. Tom Hutchinson. I had those two pitchers, Greinke and Richard, with 5 batters that didn't play. So he obviously stacked that Washington game and still cashed all of his lines. It just shows you the importance of getting pitching right. And I am so confident in these sheets now, man. They are looking like money. Dallas Keuchel, he was the top projected pitcher on the slate yesterday. Had himself a game. Of course, didn't finish as the top pitcher of the night. That went to Zack Greinke. We had Michael Pineda, who was the second highest rated on our sheet. Of course, goes out, has a really nice game himself. He was the chalk play of the night. So these things are working, man, I promise. And something I'm starting to build in. So I know, we've had questions on, can we use this sheet to predict or to find stacks? And the answer is absolutely yes. What I'm starting to realize is if you look at the pitchers on the bottom of the sheet, those are guys that are, projected to not do as well. So what I'm learning is you take the pitchers at the bottom, find the team they're facing on the home run sheet, and stack the batters on that team that are green on the home run sheet. So use the combination. And we talked about the twin stack yesterday, right? So Derek Holland was one of the worst projected pitchers on that sheet, right? It made sense. We talked about high fly ball rate, high hard contact in a hitter's park. He was bound to give up home runs. They just hadn't happened yet. Well, sure enough, yesterday it happened, right? You look at that home run sheet. Sano, Dozier, both home runs. I had Chris Jimenez. We talked about Eduardo Escobar hit a home run. So it's becoming a sound strategy. And I think right now, at the very least, it is working for cash. GPP, I think, is different because you really have to be random and not play the obvious play. And so these are giving you the guys that logically make sense, right? Some guys, obviously, you would look at and you're like, wow, that doesn't make sense, but the numbers back it up. And those could be GPP plays, but you still have to find some guys that are not obvious on a GPP. But for cash, these sheets, I've cashed every single night in the past 4 days since I've been testing this strategy. So that's working. JL says, I can get one pitcher right, but 2 on DK is so tough. I usually have a good and a bad. I had Holland and Ramirez. So that tells you how my night went. Yeah, Holland was chalk, and I have no idea why. I think people were, not saying this is you, but I think a lot of these other sites pushed him from the standpoint of recency bias. He had obviously had a good start to the year, but if you if you dig deeper in his numbers, that fly ball hard contact rate does not support a sustainable season. So again, it's using the combination. So we'll stick with us. We'll show you the way and kind of how I at least look at them. I nail pitchers are hands down my best aspect of DFS. It's the hitters that I can't seem to consistently get right now. So I know how to find pitchers. Hitters, for whatever reason, haven't quite nailed it yet, but we're going to get there. So Houston and New York obviously had a good game yesterday from both these pitchers. We got McCullers on the hill today and Jordan Montgomery. Now, oh wow, yeah. Jose, the home run sheet I'm using for one-off and to find low-cost plays. That is a good strategy, my friend. So McCullers is actually having a really, really, really good start to the year. His K percentage in 2017 is higher than Clayton Kershaw's. His hard contact is lower than Clayton Kershaw's, and his fly ball rate is lower than Clayton Kershaw's. That is a winning recipe. You have a 20% fly ball rate, a 20% hard contact rate, and a 30% strikeout rate. There is a reason he is being pushed on all these other podcasts today. I know he is chalk. Now, I'm interested to see what kind of chalk he's going to be, because on FanDuel, at the very least, you have Kershaw at 9.8, Cueto, I believe, at 9.6, and McCullers might be 9.6. But anyways, they're all in that, within like $500 of each other. And Kershaw is not being pushed. I think probably they want less ownership on him. Or there could be a reason, and I'll get to that. But I think you're going to see ownership spread out between the three. So I think these three guys, Kershaw, Cueto, and McCullers, will be the top 3 owned guys on the slate. But I don't think you'll see anyone just absolutely over-own the other guys. So, yeah, I do. McCullers, the only downside to McCullers is his away numbers are not as good as his home numbers. But they're still not bad. If you look at his away numbers, he's still giving up a 30% fly ball rate, that's below average, a 28% hard contact, he's still striking out 24% of batters, and giving up under a home run per 9. So, again, these 3 numbers are huge right here. This is a winning formula. 20% hard contact and 20% fly ball. We all know that the ball has to be a fly ball for it to go out of the park. He's given up 1 in 5 batted balls as a fly ball. And 1 in 5 of those batted balls are hard contact. That's a 1 in 10 probability that the ball is going to be a hard hit fly ball. Simple probability math. That's really, really good. I know this is a really hot lineup in the Yankees, and it is a hitter's park. So that's why I'm really interested to see what kind of ownership he has. But I do like this play today. He projects really, really well. And there are some strikeout bats on this Yankee team. So if McCullers can keep the ball down, I think he could be a really good play today. So look out for that. I wouldn't be as concerned with ownership today because there are so many options in the same price range. Usually on a Kershaw slate, you know every other pitcher is going to be low owned. Kershaw being under 10K is going to be extremely enticing for some of these guys. On the flip, you got Jordan Montgomery. Now, this guy has actually pitched pretty well to start the year. He's got a low hard contact rate, and his fly ball rate leaves a little bit to be desired. He clearly dominates lefties, but righties is a struggle right now. So I don't think I really want to play Montgomery. I think this Houston lineup can get to him, especially the righties, man. Springer jumps off the bat to me. Evan Gattis, obviously, Correa. Here's the one thing that Houston doesn't have going for them. They're hitting the ball hard, but look at these fly ball rates. They're really not high. Typically, you want a fly ball rate of around 40% for a power hitter. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this game. I don't want to play Montgomery personally, but I don't know that I stack Houston. This implied total is kind of low for a game at Yankee Stadium, so I'm interested there. I think I find myself fading most of the bats in this game. Let's put it that way. Seattle and Toronto. Now this, I believe, is going to be a bullpen game. We already know that Joe Biagini is on a 70-pitch limit. Last time he got 56 pitches and was pulled. They're moving it up a little bit. I know they're trying to transition him into a starter. This kid has really, really good stuff. There's a reason he projects really well. The problem is his pitch count, and I don't think you're going to get, one, a quality start, and two, he has to go 5 innings to get the win. A lot of things can happen between the 5th and 9th inning for that win to disappear, and you're just limited to upside. I really don't think he is a play I want to target for that reason. And Christian Bergman, again, spot start. I don't see him lasting long into this game. So, what's up, Kevin? Thanks for yesterday's winners. We got you, buddy. I see this being a bullpen game. I think I can look at some of the bats. You guys know I like Kevin Pillar leading off. I'll stay on him. Yo, yo. Uh-oh, let me get your Skype call in here. Hi, Mike. Your audio's not working. Bam. We'll wait for Mike to call back. So yeah, I think off the bat, I like Gamble. Well, actually, you know what? Here's the thing. I really don't think Seattle destroys Biagini. I think you're gonna have to wait and be patient for the bullpen, and that's hard. That's a GPP play for me because there's no guarantee. You can't predict who's gonna come into this game. So again, GPP play, but I do like 2, 3, 4. I love Valencia still. I think he's swinging the bat well. Yo. No audio. But on the Toronto side, I do like Pillar. I like Smoke again, man. Smoke was hot. How about that yesterday? Man? Hell of a game. We talked about Smoke and Pierce, right? Bam, both hit home runs. I believe Pierce hit a home run. If not, he had great points. And Smoke had, I believe, like 45 FanDuel points. So if you had those two, man, you were looking good. So I think I can go right back there, Smoke, Pierce again, and then Pillar. Batista's too cold right now for me. Atlanta, Miami. Now, Mike Volta Newitz is a guy. He's interesting. Now I can hear you.
Oh, I can see.
It's those headphones.
Yeah, I know. Sorry for the interruptions. What's going on, guys?
We were 2 games in. Talked about. I'll let you, if you want, give your quick thoughts on New York and Houston and Seattle, Toronto before we talk about this game.
Yeah, sure. So, obviously, New York and Houston. You got the young lefty pitch for the Yanks. McCullers, top 3 price player on DraftKings, pitching for Houston. I don't really think I'm on any of the bats in this game just because Montgomery's been playing pretty well. Obviously, you've got, Altuve and Correa, the 2 righties in the middle of the order that I'd be looking at. But judging based on a 15-game slate, I don't know that I'm really going to go there against Montgomery, especially with the Yankees bullpen if this stays close. And then, I don't know that I want to go after McCullers and the Houston bullpen as well. I mean, I don't know. I think if you were to target McCullers, you want to look at guys that are more disciplined at the plate, like that don't strike out much. He's a swing and miss type of guy.
Yeah, so it's funny. We're literally on the same page. And me and Mike didn't talk about this, I promise. I said that I wasn't interested in the bats. I wasn't interested in the bats on either side. Not that I don't think Houston's bad. I really don't want to attack Montgomery. And on the flip, dude, Lance McCullers' baseline numbers, his strikeouts percentage is higher than Kershaw's. His hard contact is lower, and his fly ball rate is lower. So if by probability, right, a 20% fly ball, 20% hard contact, only 1 in 10 batted balls are being hit, are a hard hit fly ball against him.
Yeah, no. Again, and there's not really many disciplined lefties on the Yankees. The only one that really that comes to mind is Didi. Like, as a guy that can work to count. That's a lefty in that lineup. So, I don't know. I'm off of that on a 15-game slate. What was the other game that you said that you've been through?
Seattle-Toronto, the two relievers.
See, this is the complete opposite. This is a game where I'm not on either of the pitchers, obviously. I think this is going to be a bullpen game on both sides, and both of these bullpens are bad. So,
one thing I did
it's not even like they're...
One thing I did mention is I think Seattle is a GPP play from the standpoint of I really don't think they destroy Biagini, but you're going to have to wait till the bullpen gets in and you're limited at bats, waiting, kind of banking on that home run or a run explosion. And on top of that, you really don't know who is going to come in from the bullpen.
Yeah, definitely. I think even if you look at the Vegas lines, I think they support this game being kind of a game stack. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm more on Toronto's side. It's just hard to pick and choose with this lineup. Like, where do I want to go? I don't really trust Batista much. I think Smoke in the middle of the order is probably the one guy I feel most comfortable in. But if you look at his price point on DraftKings, there's a lot of good one-offs at that price point. So I don't know where he fits in with that.
Yeah, see, me personally, I mentioned Pilar, Smoke, and Pierce. And that two-man of Smoke and Pierce yesterday was money.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And we were on that, too.
Yep.
At least I was. I wasn't here, but I told you to mention that.
So we're to Atlanta, Miami, and I actually think Mike Fulton-Newitz is not the worst play tonight. I don't think he's a must-play by any means, but there is some intrigue to go along with him.
Yeah, another guy that's trying to finesse you and, not really pitching to contact, so he's got the strikeout upside. Again, Miami is not a good team top to bottom. They have big bats in the lineup. I played Lance Lynn against them, and I was literally only worried about Yelich and Bohr from the left side, and sure enough, those two guys hit home runs in the first inning. So, I feel you. I think you can definitely attack this team. You got I don't know that this is a top 5 play for me from pitcher.
No, absolutely
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Definitely not a top option, but he's not. I think there are worse options on the slate, and if you're looking for the mid-tier pitcher, I think you can do worse than Fulte.
Yeah, and I don't think you should chase Urena. He's a long guy. He shut out the Mets, gave up 1 hit over 6 innings, but it was only 63 pitches. I imagine he's not getting close to 100 tonight. But I guess he earned another start, I guess what Mattingly said, so yeah. I'm not on that either. But still, very intriguing that in Shea, he shut down a heavy lefty Mets lineup,
Absolutely. Minnesota and Cleveland. So Urban Santana was definitely due for some regression. We talk about fly ball pitchers, and he's one of them, man. Gave up quite a few home runs to that Boston team. And this year he's actually above his career average in terms of fly balls. Giving up almost 45% fly ball rate. It's really not a good combination or a good number.
Yeah, he's had some good starts this year. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Not been bad, but then you look at the starts that he's had, and it's like really subpar opponents. Oakland, Texas, the White Sox, the Royals. You know what I mean? So There could be. Obviously, there was some regression came in that Boston game. A good lineup. You got Cleveland on the opposition. Not really a time I want to go after him. He does possess some K upside, and the numbers across the board are in the top 5, except for the fly ball rate. You look at average against, WOBA against, strikeout percentage. Dude's been pitching well, but I mean, he's hitting Cleveland in what is it, Progressive Field now, and Cleveland is top 5 hard contact rate versus righties. Top 5 fly ball rate, top 5 line drive rate, top 10 in ISO versus righties. So, not really a team I'm trying to target on this 15-game slate.
I agree. Santana's not on my radar at all. Tomlin has been not a great pitcher to start the year, but I think he's gotten a little unlucky with his home runs. I think his downfall is obviously his hard he doesn't have any upside. I'm not saying to play him. But he's actually pitched to ground balls a lot better than his career numbers, so we'll see if he kind of regresses and gets back up to where he usually is. Everything else has really fallen in line with his career averages. So maybe obviously he's probably intentionally trying to keep the ball down, but it'll be interesting to see if he can. I think you can go right back to a Minnesota stack here of Sano, Dozier. I look at Kenny's Vargas again. Kepler is mad cold right now, so I'm going to fade that. Castro's interesting down at 8 as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Obviously, you got reverse splits with Tomlin in his career. He's been, like you said, known to give up the home run. So I think Dozier Sano is an elite 2-man stack today. He has played the Twins, I think, this year. Let's see. Yep, and went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs on 7 hits. 11-5 ground ball to fly ball ratio in that game. Did not give up a home run. So, yeah, he's only given up 3 home runs on the year. So, something's got to give, right? So, I don't know. Maybe he's switched something up, try and change what type of pitcher he is. I mean, he obviously needed to, so yeah. Something to keep an eye on.
Tampa Bay, Boston. Now, this is interesting to me. Rick Porcello is being talked up on quite a few podcasts today. And I mentioned earlier, because Kershaw is so cheap, because he's pitching in cores, I'm really interested to see how the ownership kind of plays out today. Because you have Kershaw, McCullers, Cueto, all around the same price. You can throw Porcello in that. So I really think ownership will kind of get spread out. But I really don't like Porcello. He's pitching, I mean, look at these numbers. So we've seen this story before, a.k.a. Greg Holland. I'm sorry, not Greg Holland. Derek Holland. High fly ball rate, high hard contact equals home run. Let's pair that.
Generally, that's the recipe.
Let's pair that with Corey Dickerson, who has an amazing ISO, a 46% fly ball rate, and 34% hard contact. I like that play. Logan Morrison, 43% hard contact, 40% fly ball. Like it. Colby Rasmus, 35 and 47. These Tampa lefties get the ball in the air and hit it hard. Pair that with the short right field porch in Boston. I am not on any Porcello at all today.
Yeah, I don't mean either. The obvious reason why is this pitching slate is yucky, and if you look at straight strikeout upside, he's seemingly the guy that stands out just because of he's a top 5 K percentage pitcher on the slate, and the Rays the top team in K percentage versus righties on the season. So that's where the chalk's coming from. There's strikeout upside, but again, look at this hard contact, fly ball rate, and you look at the opposition, man. Top 10 in line drive percentage, top 10 in fly ball percentage, top 10 in hard contact are the Rays. So, as an offense, that does not seem like a recipe for success in a hitter's park. So, I was talking about Justin Smoke. Him and Logan Morrison are the exact same price on DraftKings. If you're going that way at first base,
I think it depends.
Is it just kind of like pick and choose? I think it's a toss-up.
I do too. I think it depends on your stack. Personally, I'm on Tampa, so I'm looking at a Dickerson, Rasmus, Morrison stack, or a Miller. I can look at Brad Miller too. Brad Miller, Morrison, Rasmus, right? You can throw Tim Beckham in that if you want to. So that's kind of where I go. Now, if I was looking at a Toronto stack instead, I would pair it with Smoke.
Yeah, I just was thinking more one-off. You have Smoke, you have Morrison, and then $200 more you have Yonder Alonso. I know it's getting talked up all over all formats of fantasy baseball.
I think I'm going to stick with my gut here, Mike. I'm going to go Logan Morrison.
All right. Yep. No, it's fair enough. Again, I think it's a toss-up. I really do.
So, Gorilla says Miller owns Porcello. Yeah, if you guys value BBP.
Yeah, that's the BBP alarm of the day.
Yeah, Porcello has not done well versus this lineup. So, Oakland at Texas. Now, I know this is being talked up as a game stack all over. Jesse Hahn, which obviously, like we mentioned, the Texas power is from the left side of the plate. Lucroy is back batting cleanup. I think his bat is starting to wake up a little bit, so that's interesting. Gallo's still at 8. That is interesting. But I am on... if I was to stack Texas, which I don't have any Texas or Oakland actually right now, it would be Mizar, Odor, and Gallo against Hahn, who, I mean, he does not give up home runs to righties at all. So I don't think you play the righties on Texas. And same with Cashner. I think this is a lefty-only game, in my opinion. If I'm looking at bats from this game, it's load them with lefties.
Yeah, it's intriguing to me. I think Hahn is a very intriguing play because, again, like you said, he's very good versus righties, and then he's had a pretty good season. He's like one of the best pitchers on the slate when it comes to opponents' average against and WOBA against. And then you mentioned 0.25 home runs per 9. Or is that what I'm looking at? So if you're looking at the lefties on Texas, I mean, Gallo's homing or nothing. I think he's batting under 200. Same thing with Odor this season. He's just not having a great hitting year. So, I don't know. I think it's an interesting play, Jesse Hahn, today.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to pitch against chalk. Vegas was wrong yesterday about this game. They were, high run projections for both sides. Didn't scare me off Clayton Richard one bit.
And I kind of like some Oakland. Again, I mentioned Yonder Alonso. I'm not playing him because I think people are going to be all over him he's not that great. I don't think he's that great of a player. I'm not buying the hype for 20% ownership on him. I just like what they did with their lineup shakeup a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. San Diego and Chicago. Now, this is another guy, dude. Miguel Gonzalez is getting talked up, and I really don't like his game.
It's not DFS worthy.
No, well,
good spot for him.
I can make the argument against that, and so my reason is this.
I mean, this is when you look at Gonzalez, man. I think playing in San Diego, this is probably one he's been circling, But as far as a DFS play on a 15-game slate, he doesn't have the K upside really. He doesn't really excite me as a play, so I don't really see him in any of my player pools.
Same. So you talk about low K upside, and we talk about high fly ball rate in one of the
home run park,
one of the elite home run parks in the league. So I really can't get behind it because we know that San Diego is not a great hitting team, but there are hitters that can concern you. Will Myers, Ryan Schimpf is home run or nothing. Austin Hedges, Alan Cordova flashed a little bit of power. So I really don't think that Gonzalez is a guy I want to pitch, or San Diego's not a team I want to attack with someone that doesn't have high K upside.
Yeah, and you think about the best case scenario for Gonzalez too. It's like, San Diego is the epitome of a home run or nothing team. You look at their ISO versus their team WOBA, it's like the Brewers, man. Like one's top 10, one's bottom 10. So, again, you look at the best case scenario for Gonzalez. He goes out, he pitches a quality start, and it's just not. It doesn't get the Ks. It's not. I don't know. I just really.
I see maybe
don't think it translates well.
I see 6 Ks as the highest upside, like ceiling for Gonzalez.
Yeah, for real. Other side of this, Wallace Chassin in the hitter's park. You looking at any White Sox bats?
I'm not.
Going there today?
I'm not. Wallace Chassin actually does a pretty good job of keeping the ball on the ground. Not the best, but he's not someone I want to attack today. To play
Yeah.
devil's advocate to not playing Miguel Gonzalez, the temperature is really low, which favors pitchers, right? Cold temperature favors pitchers. So that puts me not on the bats. But again, Miguel Gonzalez, just to clarify, doesn't have the upside that I want. So I'm not really looking to play. I don't have any of these guys in my lineups. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, me neither. Moving on.
New York Mets, by the way, Mets. The bad
Metropolitans.
The bad New York team, and Milwaukee. Now, what do we see from Matt Harvey today? Is he, going to cry a tear on the mound because his ex-girlfriend is with Julian Edelman?
I mean, it is Miller time in Milwaukee, so
to be honest,
staying a little late tonight.
To be honest, I will say this: I too would be incredibly devastated if I lost a girlfriend to a Patriots player. Right? I mean, anybody on the Patriots, like that's just an embarrassing. It's embarrassing, like to lose a girlfriend to someone. Yeah, especially if it was Tom Brady, that would be awful.
Yeah, that would be pretty devastating. Not gonna lie. Man, this dude is just getting it from all angles, man. I don't know. If it wasn't in Miller Park, I'd be tempted to just throw Matt Harvey up there and see what he can do. I mean, not really one to play narratives in baseball, but I think you can play both sides, the extremes on this one. He could go out and get blown up. He'd go out and shut him down. I mean, obviously this K upside, similar kind of matchup that we just talked about with San Diego.
Does his K percentage so far this year worry you? It's mad.
Oh yeah, everything about this year worries me about Matt Harvey. So it's a complete dart. I'm not even considering him today. I'm just saying, if this was, say, he was, I don't know, playing.
What's his nickname? Batman.
The Dark Phillies. Knight? Say he was playing in the Phillies today after all this went down. I don't know. It might be a little different. But the fact he's playing in Miller Park against a big bat team, I don't think so, man. Otherwise, on the other side, I really like a Mets stack today against Garza. Obviously, you got Conforto. He's dealing with a hamstring thing. Sat out a game, but didn't seem like he only sat out one game. I think Cabrera's dealing with a thumb injury, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if you do buy into that concern. Obviously, Curtis is having a terrible year, but then you got TJ Rivera, who's with Duda back. Those two are going to be battling for a spot. Rivera's been lighting it up, so there's maybe some narrative there. Obviously, I think Bruce is the play.
Can you play TJ Rivera at multiple positions on DraftKings?
He's third base as well.
5, 6, 7 on New York. Granderson, Rivera, Duda.
See, I don't think I'm playing Granderson just because of how he's been playing, man. The dude looks terrible.
Mike, he's heating up a little bit. I'm telling you. He had a good series against the Giants. I know it's the Giants, but you pair that with Miller Park, and the roof is open, so they do get that. I think Granderson's a good play today against Garza. And
I'll let him prove it to me. I like Granderson as a play, DFS-wise, from multiple years, but it's just been a rough start for him.
I think if you're gonna GPP, one of my favorite stacks for GPP is gonna be 5 on DraftKings, so you can't do it on FanDuel, but Granderson, Rivera, Duda. Watch out for those 3 on the Mets today.
Yeah, another concern I have with Rivera is he's a hit for average type player. I was watching the game the other day. They were talking about his approach in the minor leagues, and they were trying to change his approach to have more of a home run swing, and it didn't work out for him, so they decided to leave it as it is. He was a batting champion in AAA last year or something, so
yeah,
maybe that doesn't really translate to as a one-off in DFS, but I think he's always going to be considered part of a stack, for that reason.
I agree. So that's where I look there. On the Brewer side, I think Thames, Shaw, VR would be a good stack. You can look at Perez if you want to, but I tend to lean the lefty bats, so VR, Thames, and Shaw is where I would go.
Yeah, I agree.
Chicago and St. Louis, Eddie Butler his career numbers are not good. However, Clint in Slack does a really, really good job of keeping up with minor leaguers. It's kind of one of his favorite things to do is track, prospects and how they're doing and, who's getting called up, things and that. He now, again, this is opinion. He says that Butler has really kind of retooled his game since he's been in the minor leagues. So it's going to be something to watch for. If that is the case, I don't know if you really play off his career numbers, but I still think you can get behind a St. Louis stack here. Pham, Carpenter, Gorko. Why does Wong keep showing up as a righty? He's not a righty. God damn it. But yeah, that's kind of where I would lean, Mike. Is if I'm going to do that, I think I go 2-3-4 or even 1-2-3 on St. Louis.
Yep, I agree. I like St. Louis. I think Clint kind of stole my thunder, man. I did a lot of research on this guy today. But props to you. We love it. Big time prospect coming up in the Rockies system. The Rockies kind of let him go after 3 years in AAA. And I did also read that the Cubs kind of took a flyer on him and started to change some of his mechanics. Obviously, they're having some issues with their staff, so we'll see what he can do to come in here. Again, it's still first start of the year for this guy, so I think you can kind of go after him. I think you've hit the nail on the head with the guys I would look at. And then on the flip, Mike Leake, man, I think it has to be in play today. Against the Cubs.
Yep, dude. Anthony Rizzo is cold as ice over the last week. Bad. So he doesn't really concern me. I mean, if he turns it on today, he turns it on. The one concern I do have is temperatures are warming a little bit, but Mike Leake has done a great job of keeping the ball on the ground this year. Great hard contact rate against him. It's super low, I meant to say. And fly ball rate right at 25%. So, again, you're looking at about a 1 in 9 probability that a ball hit is going to be a hard fly ball.
Yeah, I think I might be playing Mike Leake against the Cubs. I think it's going to be out there, contrarian. No one's going to really be on it. If you look at the numbers, you take logic out of it just because this is the Cubs. This team has just not been at the top. So actually at the bottom of almost all offensive categories that I consider DFS relevant. Yeah. Bottom 10 in ISO, bottom 10 in WOBA, bottom 2 in line drive percentage, bottom 5 in hard contact. When you look at the matchup, he's Mike Leake on this slate is the top 5 in all those categories. So
I think it's time to restart that clock on the 106-year World Series drought.
I hope so. Another goat in there.
Baltimore, Kansas City, Danny Duffy, Dylan Bundy. So me and Mike in Slack were talking today about Dylan Bundy. And interesting play. I think something that concerns me is high fly ball rate, low home run per 9 so far this year. I think you can see this number start to climb at some point. A fly ball rate near 50% is not ideal.
No.
But
I mean, paired with low hard contact, it could be,
yeah.
It could just be getting a bunch of lazy fly balls.
True. I think you'll start to see that climb a little bit, but again, I'm not saying it changes today because Kansas City is that bad, but watch out for it in the future. And he has low K upside right now, so I think again you're probably looking at a ceiling of 6 Ks, and that's not really where I want to go. And then on the other side, Danny Duffy, man, he had a great start to the year, but he has regressed quickly in terms of DFS. So he's doing a good job of pitching to contact, keeping the ball on the ground, but his K per 9 has dropped considerably. K percentage has dropped considerably, and it's not someone I think I want to play.
Yeah, there's been a lot chronicled about his decline in velocity. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't really know what has caused that to happen, but I know I've been reading it a couple places even since spring training. I've been reading it. Hey.
You okay?
Yeah, I know, it's my dog. And then, I don't know, on the flip, I think Bundy made my player pool today just for, there really isn't many pitchers on this slate with K upside and good matchups. I mean, the people that I look at, I mean, we talked about Porcello, K upside in a bad matchup. Cueto, I think you can say the same thing about him against the Reds. I think I like that a little bit better. Santana has K upside against Cleveland. McCullers K upside against the Yankees. You know, it's like there really isn't any real strikeout pitchers in great matchups today. Bundy kind of falls into that same category. I think playing a bad team, maybe somebody I'm looking at in the mid-tier. I don't know. He made my player pool at least.
That's fair. Some of the bats I like on the Baltimore side are Rickard and Machado. Those are kind of the two. I'm looking at that two-man stack right there. Rickard definitely doesn't bat left-handed. So that's kind of where I'm looking against Duffy. He clearly has splits that favor playing against lefties than he does righties. So in a full righty lineup, I think Mancini's in play as well. But Rickard and Machado are the two guys I'm looking at. On Kansas City, I don't think I'm going to play any of these bats. I didn't make my player pool.
See, I do somewhat like Salvador Perez because 7-game hitting streak, 8 hits over his last 4 games.
I will. I'll tell you.
That's the only one guy that made it.
It's fair enough. If I'm going to pay it for catcher, I'm not going to pay for Salvador. It's going to be this guy in the next game, which is Yasmani Grandal. Dude's hot.
Oh, yeah, I told you I'd rather have Grandal or Perez. Perez actually is a little bit cheaper on DraftKings. He has like 15 players ahead of him at catcher, so.
Does this concern you at all, Mike? So I'm not saying Clayton Kershaw is in a regression, but much higher fly ball percentage in his career, giving up more home runs and higher hard contact, down in strikeouts, up in WOBA. I mean, you could say he's not quite settled down, you could put it, but he also has a career ERA of over 4 in Coors Park.
Which is surprising. I mean, once summer comes around and we got 76-degree temps today with winds blowing out, I really don't want to play Kershaw or Chatwood.
Same.
Just for that reason. It just, I don't know. I made my money off Coors last night. You got the Dodgers in town. It's seemingly going to be a good time there. I don't know. And then you got Kershaw who, I don't know, early this year when they had the game with Reynolds and Arenado, hit the home runs. It's enough for me to not play him. And then I look at this slate and I look at all the pitchers and it's like impossible to choose who you want to pitch. That everyone's just going to be like, all right, especially on DraftKings when there's 2, you need to pick 2 people that you don't feel comfortable with. I think it's just going to be easy for people to take that depressed Kershaw price and be like, all right, I don't know who to play.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Is Kershaw a trap? He's never, ever sub 10K on FanDuel. Ever. Is him being under 10K a trap?
Yeah, I mean, this is the last time it's going to be under 10K. That's way too cheap. He's a little bit more modestly priced. He's still under Cueto, but I don't really want to play Kershaw today, no. I think the main reason, again, is because there's really not much to like at pitcher. So I think a lot of people are going to see that and just go right there.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Not on Kershaw myself. Now, Dodgers stack is looking chalky. And I think you can expect Chatwood's home run per 9 to drop. Currently giving up this year almost 2 per 9. But if you look at his fly ball percentage and hard contact percentage, those numbers do not add up. So I think his home runs per 9 drops closer to that career number you're looking at of 1 per 9. But is a Dodgers stack a trap as well?
I don't know. It's interesting. You look at these games for Chatwood. Against San Diego, 3 fly balls, 2 home runs. Against Washington, 2 fly balls, 2 home runs.
That's what I'm saying.
Like every ball against San Diego again, 2 fly balls, 2 home runs. It's like every ball that gets hit in the air goes out of the park. I mean, that can't continue, right?
I mean, the numbers don't tell that story at all.
So it's interesting. I know Chatwood has been a bit of a surprise this season with a lot of these Rockies pitchers. They've been talking up his changeup a lot. you obviously are paying a pretty penny for the Dodgers today. I think people are going to be all over it. So I might try to find the guy I think is going to be highest owned and, just one him off in case that guy goes off. So try and keep up with the chalk. But then again, you can make the case to find the guy that's highest priced with Kershaw on the slate, thinking he'd be less owned. Like I'm looking at a guy like Corey Seager at a position that's scarce, that he is just way too highly priced. So
Seager,
maybe you play that.
He's been not cold, but he has not lived up to his price as of late. And the fact that his price is further elevated being in Coors is kind of off-putting.
Exactly.
Jock Peterson's interesting.
I'm saying from a contrarian.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bellinger stays chalky. He was mad chalky yesterday. If this Dodger stack is chalky again today, I think he stays chalky. Grandal is a one-off for me. I really like that play. But that's as far as I go on the Dodgers is Grandal. On the Rockies, go ahead.
I was going to say with Seager, I think you can say the same thing about all the shortstops that were hyped up this year. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
They've all kind of disappointed in a sense.
This is true, my friend. Rockies, do we kind of look at Arenado? I mean, they're cheap because they're playing Kershaw, so they're almost offset in terms of a home game at Coors, right? You typically see them at this price on the road. Desmond, home run or nothing. Arenado obviously has decent numbers off Kershaw. So can we look at Arenado and Desmond? I don't think I roster Cargo, but Arenado does.
See, I'm looking at Arenado and Reynolds. I mean, Reynolds is having one of the best years of his career. He's batting like .330 with 12 bombs.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that just kind of signed to a AAA contract. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I think he's in play. I think him and Arenado. I don't really want to stack against Kershaw, even though it's in Coors.
Yeah, same. I'm not going to roster Kershaw, but I don't stack against him. Maybe a two-man like we're talking about.
Right.
Zach Greinke, hell of a game yesterday. Pittsburgh is ice cold. Andrew McCutchen, cold. Jordy Mercer, cold. Gift, who's out of the lineup today, cold. David Freese is back. Corbin is an interesting play, Mike. I know it's in Arizona. But this Pittsburgh team is, like we said, really, really cold.
Yeah. They've been bad all year, too. It's not just like they're cold. They've just we went from bad to worse. They've gone from, hopefully being okay next month to, okay, we need to, sell off some assets next month. Seriously.
I agree. I think Harrison, Mercer, McCutchen, they're still worrisome from the standpoint of we know what they've done career-wise versus lefties, but part of me is on Corbin today. Right now,
yeah, Corbin.
Right now, so I typically run one pitcher. Right now, Corbin is that pitcher for me.
Get behind that. Right now, I have Corbin and Leak, so we're on the same page, I think, a little bit. He definitely made my top 5. I have heard his name a little bit today throughout my research, so there is that. And it is in Chase Field. So there is that as well. Tyler Glasnow going up against him. Obviously, that is a nice spot for the Diamondbacks as a team. Batting-wise, Corbin has played good this year. He did just get bombed. Didn't he just play really terrible in Coors last start? So maybe that keeps some people off of him. But prior to that start, he had 5 straight quality starts. Colorado, San Diego, the Dodgers, and Cleveland. So some quality opponents. 3 out of the 5 there in those quality starts. And like we said, Pittsburgh struggling mightily on the season versus lefties. They are top 10 in K percentage, bottom 10 in WOBA, bottom 10 line drive, bottom 10 hard contact. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm looking at so we now have the updated run implied totals, and kind of looking at this pitcher sheet, just kind of getting a gauge of who it's liking. Obviously, Roark is gone because that game's over. It really likes Biagini, but you can throw that away because of the pitch count, right? It's basing it off of stats, obviously, not pitch count.
Yeah.
but it really likes Leak and Corbin, Mike. They're right next to each other, actually, on top of each other. So.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, absolutely. So something to kind of numbers speak to where we're at.
Interesting.
Do you stack?
Yeah, I like that.
Do you stack Arizona against Glass now?
I am looking at it. Yes, I think this is kind of one of my places to go today. I think Glass now, obviously, AAA was the man, right? This dude was supposed to be the next, god for Pittsburgh, and
Yeah.
he really hadn't lived up to it. He's got 2 straight pretty good starts, 2 straight quality starts, actually. So against Milwaukee and Cincinnati, but I don't trust it enough. I think Arizona is a place that I want to go. If anything, I definitely, if I had to pick 2, it'd be Pollock and Peralta.
Agree.
Kind of fade Goldschmidt just because there's so much depth at first base today. So I think that's a 2-man that I can definitely get behind.
I agree with you. Detroit, LA. Jordan Zimmerman is bad this year. Bad, man. So this is just an all-around bad combination. High fly ball rate, high hard contact, low strikeouts. The question is, who on LA is going to take advantage of that?
True. I mean, we mentioned a couple days ago, Pujols, he's a home run closer. That's 600.
Yeah.
That was one guy I looked at.
Balbuena?
I think Trout. You might get Trout. I don't know, man. You might get Trout low owned today.
I think if you're going to stack against Zimmerman, which I really don't think it's a bad idea at all. Trout, Pujols, Balbuena. Obviously, you can't do that on DraftKings or FanDuel. I know on FanDuel you definitely can't, but I'd imagine Balbuena is not dual eligible.
I don't know. I think he might be outfield eligible too. Let me just make sure real quick.
I can get behind that 3-man. Otherwise, I think I pick Balbuena over Pujols.
Third base.
Okay, so you can do it.
Yeah, Pujols under 4K now. Balbuena is at 3,400, so he again is in that same little area with TJ Rivera, Luis Balbuena, Justin Smoke. We mentioned Logan Morrison. All these guys in the same little price point. I think. Yeah. Gotta make a decision there if you're not playing multiple lineups. But if you are, I could see you picking one in each. Doing that type of thing and making them all one-offs and hoping that 1 out of the 4 hits a bomb.
Absolutely. I definitely like the 2-man here of Trout and Pujols or Trout and Balbuena, whichever way you go. So that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. On the Detroit side, I think Matt Shoemaker is attackable. I really do. I mean, high fly ball, below average hard contact for a pitcher, so obviously above. So that the home runs per 9 makes sense. I know this is a pitcher's park. JD Martinez is back. Doesn't have great career numbers versus Shoemaker, but limited sample size. Interesting play. Alex Avila, obviously, versus a righty. Always interesting. So there is some potential for a stack here.
Dude, yeah, I think the guy that stands out to me is Justin Upton. If you look at exit velo numbers as of late, this dude is crushing the ball. 2 home runs in his last 3 games. That's the guy I'm looking at. And then Miguel Cabrera, look at what Shoemaker does versus righties, reverse split-wise. Those are the 2 guys I think that I look at the most. Yeah. If you want to full stack it, I would throw in those other guys we talked about.
Sorry, just updating this lineup.
Yeah, no worries, man. And Justin Upton, though, is intriguing to me. At 4,200, I don't...
Is that cheap?
I think if I'm playing 5, it's like he... Let's say, let's see who else is around him. So you've got Chris Davis with a K at 4,200, Adam Jones at 4,200, Kristen Yelich at 4,200, Batista at 43, Upton's at 42. So it's right with those guys. I think that he stands out amongst all those guys to me. I'm not playing much tonight just because I really didn't feel comfortable with the pitching. I think if I'm playing 5 lineups, that Miguel Cabrera, Justin Upton 2-man is definitely in at least one.
Cincy and San Francisco, last game of the night. So, recency bias, does that put people on Feldman? Obviously, went out and dominated them in Cincinnati, Hitters Park. Now he comes to San Francisco in a much better park. Low implied total for this game overall. So, and also, I think Cueto is pitching much worse than his average, and so I think you'll start to see him come back, or climb back up, I should say. I think he's pitching worse than he is.
Yeah, I think of all the higher priced pitchers today, Cueto was the guy I was most considering. And I also not really buying into this Reds lineup. I know they got Duval and Suarez and Schebler, all three really good young bats that, you know, if this continues to trend upward, Cincinnati is going to be like they hit a little bit of a gold mine here. Because I don't think they drafted any of those guys. So there's that. I'm just not really buying into it much. So I think I'm not really, but then again, I'm not really paying up to Cueto, I think. On the flip with Feldman, I see what you're saying, but San Francisco has been a quality start machine for opposition, pitchers,
So bad.
It's not just Feldman. That's what I'm saying. It's not just Feldman's recency bias. It's really just the entire league is pitching well against San Francisco. So I think he's in play at that mid-tier.
The only guy I look at tonight is Brandon Belt.
What about Posey heating up?
Posey's like 4.9 on FanDuel.
Yeah, must have played Grandal.
Let me see the price. I'm pretty sure Posey is the most expensive catcher. He's 4.1. Grandal is 3.7. No way am I playing Posey for $4,000 at a catcher position. I don't care if he hits a home run. That's too much to spend on a catcher.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think there's much to like in this game. I don't think I want to target Cueto with the bats. There's really nothing to look at with the Giants bats, and then Feldman is like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not on Feldman, but I can definitely see him going out having a good start again. But I do, and
Charlie's getting pissed over there.
Oh yeah, dude. Charlie's
it's true though. He's 100% right with that, man.
Yeah, we traded him for nothing. All right, so let's do our usual recap. Top 3 pitchers, point per price.
Yeah, I'll throw Cueto out there for the highest price, the high price guy I like the best. I know it's kind of a cop out. He's the highest price guy in the slate, but he's the guy that I think has the most upside on this slate altogether. Don't think I'm going to play him, but that's just because of how expensive he really is, and I want to be able to compete with my bats today.
Yeah.
And I don't think the chances of him getting to that upside is as great as I'd like him to be. And then the other 2 guys we're going to go with is Corbin and Leak.
Okay.
I also had consideration to Feldman and Hahn, for what it's worth.
So my 3 favorites are Lance McCullers. I know that's chalky and also can sound like a cop-out. Patrick Corbin. And I'm going to go Mike Leake.
It's a weird call, isn't it? It's tough.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I'm having this this flashback to when I played Lance Lynn the other night.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like, why am I playing Lance Lynn? He's playing really well this year. I don't know. So again, it's the Cubs. We'll see what happens, man. I'm playing light today because I wasn't really excited about any of this. I really didn't want to play Porcello. He's a guy I was looking at for that K upside, but all the numbers really tell me no, especially if he's going to be chalk. I was thinking about Santana for a little bit today, and then I was like, nah, why would I play against Cleveland on this slate? I liked Roark today, but that game got rained out. I originally had Corbin and Roark. So, very interesting slate, guys. I think I want to have some big bats and kind of just hope for, some 2x return on my pitchers and nothing too crazy out of that,
Jason asked, what are my thoughts on Miguel Gonzalez? I know you think he's an okay play. I'm not playing him. I don't think there's enough upside.
Let's talk weak positions. I think shortstop's a weak position today. I also think second base. You got a player pool for those spots, or?
Yeah, let me see what positions I struggled to fill. Second base, definitely. I found myself going down to Brad Miller. I liked he fit with a small Tampa stack that I had, and also as a tiebreaker, the BVP made sense.
Dozier, Altuve, or Murphy?
Well, Murphy's postponed, so
Oh, right. So Dozier or Altuve?
Dozier.
So that's where I would go if I'm paying up. I agree. I liked Lowry a little bit. Jed Lowry in Oakland, lefty, plays better from the left side. Switch hitter, plays better from the left side against, I don't remember who they're playing, but we talked about an Oakland stack.
Yeah. I like Bogarts at shortstop. I paired him with Mookie Betts as just a two-man against Alex Cobb, who scored really, really low on our pitcher chart. The other guy I can look at, Aledmus Diaz, if you want to fit a card stack. Tim Beckham would also fit a Tampa stack, is who I looked at. And I don't think I went lower than that. Yeah, that was the lowest I went.
Yeah, the high guys, I went Seager and Correa. The low guys, or the mid-tier guys, I went Diaz and Cabrera from the Mets. And then for cheap, I was looking at Didi and Jordy Mercer. But then again, when I'm playing Corbin, I don't really want to go Mercer. I think you'd throw Josh Harrison in that second base pool as well against the lefty. But let's talk catcher, too. We talked about Grandal. I talked about Perez. Is there anybody else you're looking at? I was thinking maybe some Cervelli, but he's too high. He's more expensive than Sal Perez is on DraftKings.
Yeah, no, I'm good there.
I've heard some Hedges talk in Chicago.
I can look at some Hedges. Gaddis is interesting against the lefty.
If you want a super punt on FanDuel, that's what I did. I had Luke Malley for minimum salary against the Seattle bullpen game.
I think you could look at Jason Castro as well.
Yan Gomes has actually been heating up.
Yeah.
He's got some power. So Jason Castro, right? I agree.
Give me your top 3 stacks of the night, Mike.
Okay, top 3 stacks of the night. I'm going to go with, in no particular order, the Mets, the Blue Jays, and... Okay, yeah. I guess that probably makes sense. Let me go back to the lineups. So that I make sure that I get it right. The Mets, I'm looking at Conforto and Bruce, and I like Rivera and Duda as well. So kind of an unconventional stack with players that I like. So I probably wouldn't full stack that, but those are the players on the Mets that I like in a good spot. I like the Blue Jays against this Seattle Bergman. I'm going to go Carrera, Bruce, Pierce. Carrera, Bautista, Smoke, and Pierce. Okay. And then for my last stack, I'm going to go with Arizona versus Glasnow. And just go kind of 1 through 4 with this. Pollock, Peralta, Goldschmidt, and Lamb as well.
I like it. So my 3 favorite stacks, I like a Tampa stack with the lefties. Dickerson, Miller, Morrison, Rasmus. I personally have Miller, Morrison, Rasmus, but that doesn't take anything away from Corey Dickerson. I do like him, just didn't fit him. I like a St. Louis stack as well of Pham, Carpenter, Gorko, or Fowler, Pham, Carpenter. You can look there. You can make a 4-man if you want to fit Diaz. And then two-man stacks. I'll give you 2 two-man stacks. I like Rickard and Machado on Baltimore. And I like Smoke and Pierce on Toronto.
Yep. Are you on Dozier Sano tonight?
Yeah, I can look there.
Curious to see how much ownership is on those 2 guys. Would you rather play Jake Lamb or Miguel Sano?
Sano.
I agree. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run that. I think I'm gonna run that 2-man tonight. For what it's worth, I didn't fit a Mets stack just because I liked the Arizona stack more, and those are both outfield heavy stacks.
fantasy, Young or Granderson. Granderson for me over Chris Young.
Young?
Chris Young.
Chris Young from Boston?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Would I play Stanton as a one-off? Personally, not on Stanton. I'd rather pay for Mookie Betts.
See, those two guys are totally different on DraftKings. So in case there's a DraftKings question, let me see where Stanton's price is. So I think I'd rather play Benintendi than Stanton. Actually, I don't know.
So
Actually, I think I'd rather play Nelson Cruz than Stanton today.
Stanton's 4-2, Cruz is 4-2, Pollock is 4-1, Benintendi is 4-1. I like.
Yeah, they'll play Pollock and Cruz.
I agree. I like all those other guys. Charlie's favorite stacks are Tampa Bay, Boston, Milwaukee. Milwaukee's definitely a notable stack as well. Those lefties I like.
Again, it just seems like everybody's all over the place with this slate. To be honest with you.
I don't think you're gonna find high ownership.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Like you typically.
Like not even the pitchers, man. I don't think you really factor ownership much today if you're like a contrarian player. I just feel like you're gonna be all good.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. So, Marcel, Ozuna looks like the better play. Mid-tier shortstop. I didn't go lower than Aledmus Diaz personally, so.
I think Tim Beckham is probably your mid-tier shortstop today.
Oh, that's right. Tim Beckham was the one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get anybody else in here. I mentioned Jordy Mercer, but again, I'm playing Patrick Corbin, so it tells you how much I like that play.
Steve says mini stacks for him. Yeah, I'm trying out this two-man stack idea today, so most of my lines.
Yeah, so am I. I don't have anything more than a two-man.
I have one three-man, and it's Miller, Morrison, Rasmus, but I have a three-man, two two-mans, and Grandal is a one-off, so.
Yeah, currently I have 4 different two-mans over 2 lineups.
Okay.
And the rest are all one-off.
The reason we're doing that is we've kind of been watching some of the perfect lineups, and two-man stacks have dominated the perfect lineup. So it's we're going to continue testing as always. I've just been playing Mad Light recently, just testing different strategies. I'm looking kind of long-term profit here, so trying to think about how we can better prepare either for if it's perfected by the end of the year or next MLB DFS season. So you're going to see me continue to test.
MLB DFS is not a very easy get-rich-quick type of thing. This is definitely something that there's a reason there's 162 games, 180 slates, and you're just trying, if you play every day, make it to that 55, 58, 60% ROI type thing. It's fun playing. I mean, if you're an average player, you just play once a week and you try to come in and watch yourself. It's fun throwing $1 in a tournament, but I wouldn't come in here once a week and throw $20 in your GPPs and try to get to that 100,000 or whatever it is.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in. As always, make sure you're following us on Twitter. All the links are down below. If you guys would like to join us further in the Slack group, which has all the sheets and collaboration, let us know. We will either get you situated or you can click on the link down below. We'll take care of you guys. Make sure you are well prepared for the DFS craziness. And as always, we'll be here. We're already starting to prepare for football as well. So that's obviously going to be a huge market, so we'll make sure you guys are prepped for that. But have a wonderful and profitable Friday. We will talk to you guys tomorrow back on the show for the slate. And then, as usual, off on Sundays. No Sunday show because it's all the early slate. So.
Also, I'm hearing it's supposed to rain a lot tomorrow, and I know the Yankees have a day game, so for what it's worth, maybe get a head start. But yeah, best of luck tonight, guys. Be in Slack. Chop it up.
Absolutely. So have a wonderful day, guys. We'll talk to you later.